So for this video, we're just going to do a couple simple things. In this case, we're going to import a DXF file that I already have saved here. ULV logo converted. Go ahead and hit open. Now it's going to convert it to the graphics objects and put it in the center. Sizing is what it's going to be here, so I'll just go ahead and hit OK. It came in kind of small. For this case, I'll just grab the corner. I'll go ahead and hit this logo right here, or I should say icon right here, center it up. Now what I can do is go ahead and I can set the hatch. In this case, I know we're going to be marking on anodized aluminum. So go ahead and hit, I'll go ahead here and select the hatch size, or the pitch, I should say, in this case. So this is the distance between the lines. You notice if I look at this imported logo, it's basically empty. So what I have to do is I have to fill it. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to do 0.06 millimeters on this. For now, I'm not going to do any other changes. I'm just going to hit apply. And you can notice, you see now that this filled it in with some scan lines, essentially how the laser is going to mark this in basically one line at a time. Now there's a couple other things I didn't talk about yet. If you look over here, the style of hatching, we've got a couple different options. The first one here is basically it engraves in each direction and it stops between the lines. So for instance, it'll scan from the left side to the right, and then it turns off. It gets positioned up, it turns back on again, and then it scans from right to left, and then so on, so on, and so forth. The one I like to use because it's the fastest is this one right here. It's basically a continuous scan. Go ahead and hit apply. You don't really notice much difference, but it is a difference. If I turn off if I go over here, so that's under frame fill. If I go under parameters, I can turn off the frame for a second, look at it, and you can see that it's basically a continuous scan. It's just basically a loop. It never stops. And that's going to be the fastest because the laser doesn't have to turn it on and off. The mirrors are still moving, but it's just a little bit quicker because we're not waiting for the laser to turn on and off every time as it's scanning across. Anyway, we'll leave it like that for now. I'm going to go ahead and turn back on the frame. That's basically an outline. Otherwise, if you look close, you might see some gaps. Sometimes you want to turn off the frame, depending on how small the words are. You look right over here, the TM is not really coming through. I'm going to go ahead and turn the frame back on. There's some little bugger here in the artwork. I'm not sure what the scan line is, but for this discussion, it doesn't matter. Sometimes what we have to do is because of these, sometimes the trademark that people want to have with their logo, they usually try to make it as small as possible. The problem is, just like with printing with ink, we'll tend to get some overfill. So what we need to do sometimes is actually back off the edge. So in this case, I'm going to do a negative 0.03 millimeters. And then when I hit apply, it has to be positive in this case. Okay. Hit apply. You notice that it backed off from the edge, but there's not really much there. If I make my hatching a little smaller, it does fill it a little bit more, but I'm just a little bit too far from the edge. I'll go ahead and I'm just going to set it back to 0. Hit apply. Now, one way to get rid of this, the potential, if you were to laser this and it was overprinting, we could just turn off the fill. In this case, I'm just going to move forward here for the sake of discussion. The other thing I didn't show you is you can actually you can set the number of times that you loop. You could set the number of times that you pass. Well, times. I'm going to do 3 times. And it just basically will do 3 times. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to do it at different angles. So it actually gives me a different, it'll clean up the pattern better that way. So you won't see the machining lines or the laser, what appears to be machining lines from the laser. So you hit apply and I look at this and I can see now it's cross-hatched. because the first one's at 0 degrees, and then 90, and then another at 0. If I did something like this and do 45, you'll actually, not 945, 45 degrees, hit apply, you'll actually see that we get a crosshatch in there. So that's actually a common thing. I'm going to go ahead and just do 2 passes. You can see then it have a 45 degree angle on each one of the passes, and that just will smooth up the mark a little bit. Okay, so bounced around a couple different items here. Go back to mark parameters. In the case of wanting to mark on anodized aluminum, I'm going to go ahead here and just make this 1800 millimeters per second, because I know from experience that works pretty well. If we're using a 60 watt laser, I probably want to set this at 40% power, and I want the frequency at 60. I don't want that to pop up. Don't know what that was. At 60 kilohertz. And I hit apply. So now when I run it, I'm going to make 2 passes, one at 0, one at 45 degrees, and then at these speed parameters, power parameters, etc. I'm not going to mess around with spot delay or anything like that, or waveforms. It's just going to keep it basic. So now when I'm ready to actually run this, I hit marking here. I can't actually do it because I'm on a demo version, so it doesn't actually give me the real screen, or won't actually let me do it. But in this case, here's what the screen would look like. I can do execute from here. I could actually do a preview. I can do preview from here. So preview, what that would do is allow me to put a red border around the areas that I wanted to mark on the item I'm going to mark. In this case, I'm not going to mark anything, but that's what I would do. I would hit preview. It's failed because I don't have a license key. And then once I was happy with positioning in that, I could hit mark sample, and it would go ahead and run. Again, I don't have a license key, so it gives me an error. That's it.